There is a popular saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsie and I'm excited that I just completed a 15-week journey with the CTL Africa team on the 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth by John C. Maxwell.
From the law of pain, I also learned that every problem introduces a person to himself. Honestly, till you face a problem, you wouldn't know the things that you actually have within you.
The journey for me personally was a wake-up call. Before I joined this journey, I wasn't actually learning at all. I wasn't adding any logic to what I knew.
So the law of trade-off is saying that you have to give up to grow up. So things that I think are not going to have maximum impact on my life, I have to trade them off.
I want to grow. I am not stopping now. I am continuing. And as far as I'm concerned, like it says, you cannot give what you don't have. I definitely will have to give what I have learned off to others and then get more so that I can continue giving. I am not going to be a reservoir. I am going to be a river, and therefore I'm going to continue learning to be able to give of my best.
Ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results on a consistent basis if they have a system, if they have a plan.
All right. Hello. Sarah, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you loud and
All
clear.
right. So good. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I think we're having some internet issues here, but we're going to get great. We're going to get going. This evening, we have an important subject to discuss, and we encourage all of you to invite your friends and invite your colleagues, your bosses to join this call, because this is going to be really very, very good. This is the second time we are having a discussion on emotional intelligence, but the subject is never exhausted at any point. I'm currently out of town. I'm in Cotonou in Benin, and so I don't have my usual background, but if you can hear me, then we are good to go. So please introduce yourself on the comment, on the chat, on the comment sessions. If you're joining us with Facebook Live, if you're on YouTube Live, you're on Twitter Live, just go ahead and let us know where you are, and let us know that you are connected. It is always our pleasure to connect with you, to introduce you to the world. Here we have Sarah is connected. You all know Sarah. Abigail is connected, and Kofi is connected. So we are here waiting for you to introduce yourself. We are aware that so many of you, when you connect, you prefer to stay behind the curtains and not introduce yourself or make comments, but it is our joy to introduce you. So please go ahead to just say hi, tell us your name, tell us where you are connecting from. And thank you, Ebenezer Ayabuatufo. He's joining from Abuja as usual. He says good evening to all participants. So just tell us your name, where you are connecting from, and we will be glad to announce you to the world. All right, so this evening we have an important discussion. As I've said, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. And as we published, one of the things we shared in the publication was a quote from Rajiv Suri, who says that leadership is all about emotional intelligence. Management is taught, while leadership is experience. Leadership is about people, it's about people, it's about people. It's getting people from one place to the other, all right? Which means that as a leader, you're not leading for yourself. You have to know who you are, you have to know your emotions, but more importantly, you have to know the people you are leading. You have to know where they are emotionally, you have to know where they are in spirit, you have to know where they are, sometimes even physically, whether they are sick or not. You have to know the people you're leading where they are. If you're going to be a good leader, you have to know your own emotions, you have to know the emotions of the people you are leading, and you have to be able to connect to people at the levels where they are in order to bring them to where you want them to go. If you don't, you will not be successful as a leader. You can put all the management tools in practice and you will not be able to. Another reason is that our world is getting so complicated, so technology based, and we are not having a lot of personal interaction. So sometimes when we're leading people, we're expecting them to behave as computers, as machines. But human beings are not machines. They are bound together. They have thinking, they have thoughts, they have aspirations, they have ideas of their own, they have feelings. And sometimes they are in good mood, sometimes they are not in good mood. And as a leader, you have to master all this. Now, this is an important discussion. We have said this on the platform before, that your success as a leader, 75% is going to be based on emotional intelligence. Only 25% is based on the IQ and the knowledge and the school and everything you go. So this is really so important. So this evening, we have an important leader and teacher and speaker and coach, a coach who is actually specialized in emotional intelligence, to come and share some thoughts on the power of the emotionally intelligent leader. Who is he? How does he behave? How does he get people behind him? That is what we are going to discuss. And we have our own brother, Patrick Sassou Abah-Dakou. Patrick Sassou Abah-Dakou is an international coach, a bilingual training facilitator who is very passionate about human capital development. In fact, he's been engaged in training of many middle and senior level corporate executives in over 17 countries across Africa in recent years. His focus area as a trainer is team engagement and emotional intelligence. So you see, that is his specialization. We have the right person. As a professional international coach, helping his client to realize their full potential, though through the engagement from his coaching style gives him such a delight. That is his focus. He wants to coach people to be emotionally intelligent. And this has won him many clients, mainly in Africa and Europe. All right. After 14 years in banking in Ghana and Togo, Patrick was excelling in the field of operations, international trade and finance, and customer service excellence. He, however, was not fully fulfilled until he resigned and followed his passion, which is the development of human capital. We shared on this platform, when you discover and follow your passion, wonderful things happen. And Patrick had that. Now, there's so much about Patrick. I want to just encourage you to go ahead and read the rest of it, because as John C. Maxwell has said, if you are good, you don't need a long introduction. And if you're not good, a long introduction will not help you. And we know Patrick is good, so we are not going to give him so long an introduction. His delivery, his learning is going to show all of us that he actually masters his subject. So invite your friends and your colleagues to join this class. Lakwe is here from Accra. He says happy to join today. Looking forward to an interesting session. And Isaac Kweku is also here. So great to have you guys. I have Constance from Kumasi is here. I have Asiedu Asafo Asafo Asiedu Safo from Spintest Road is also here. So on this note, it is my pleasure to welcome Patrick to take the floor and to share with us the power of the emotionally intelligent leader. So Patrick, you are welcome. I can see your screen. I can see you out there. Let me see how add you back. From my side, I cannot see you. I can only see black. But I'm sure you are there. So Patrick, talk and let's see.
Hello, good evening.
Sarah, can you see Patrick? Sarah, can you see Patrick? You can see Patrick, okay. Okay, you see both of us. Thank you so much. So we would, at this point, leave the floor to Patrick. And Patrick, take us away. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Please, could you hear me, please? Those on the chat board, maybe if you can hear me, you can just say hi. Hello, good evening. Hello. I'm trying to share my screen. Hello. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ayim. Thank you for the team for this invitation on talking about emotional intelligence. As he has said, emotional intelligence, I'm passionate about emotional intelligence, and I'm going to share the power of the emotionally intelligent leader. Well, I work with a team, and our company is called PNF Coaching International. We are an international emotional intelligence and leadership training, consulting, and coaching based in Ghana, West Africa. We are an official partner of Emotional Genus International, a world leader in emotional intelligence. But our mission is through our emotional intelligence and leadership training and tailor coaching, we support leaders like you and businesses to become excellent and successful while being emotional intelligent. We encourage leaders to be successful, leaders to be excellent in what they do. But apart from that, we want them to be successful, to be excellent by being emotionally intelligent. We will see when we start how powerful emotional intelligent leaders are, how they are able to have impact on their team. We learn in emotional intelligence, we are going to learn the power of appreciating people, the power of making people feel important. And in our company, I work with somebody I really respect, somebody I really want to honor. The person is my wife. So I'm just leading by example. This is her, she's Frida. Everywhere I go to do the presentation, I introduce her. A wonderful person, a powerful lady, and the person behind all we are doing now. So Frida, we welcome you. Thank you so much for your help in this journey of emotional intelligence. So we are going to talk about the passion of emotional intelligence. We'll talk about some case studies of two emotional intelligent leaders, what characterize emotional intelligent people. We'll talk about the origin and definition of emotional intelligence, why emotional intelligence is so critical if we compare it to the intellectual quotient. We will talk about the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership, and also the component of emotional intelligence. We are the 6 behaviors that characterize emotionally intelligent leaders. And we will talk about when we talk about emotional, how could we assess and measure emotional intelligence, and we will conclude. Where did it all started? In May 2019, I read an article in the Daily Graphic in Ghana, written by a retired captain called Sam Agdai. The title of the article was An Emerging Leadership. This article was talking about the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership. And he said something very critical, which really struck me. He said, although certain degree of analytical and technical skill are the minimum requirement for success, study has shown that people who are emotionally intelligent are people who are successful. The key, emotional intelligence must be the key attribute that distinguish outstanding performance from those who are merely performing or those who are average. So I started asking myself, because this was my first time hearing something about emotional intelligence. And that article really shook me, if I may use that word. In that article, Captain Adai added something. He quoted Daniel Goleman, one of the founders, well known in emotional intelligence around the world. He quoted Daniel Goleman. He said, in his research, at nearly 200 large global companies, Daniel Goleman found that truly effective leaders are distinguished by a high degree of emotional intelligence. Without it, a person can have a first-class training, an incisive mind, and an endless supply of good ideas, but still not be a great leader. As I was saying, that statement really challenged me and led me to start researching on emotional intelligence. So I wrote a project topic. The title was Emotional Intelligence, a Critical Success Factor for the African Entrepreneur. And that we realized that Entrepreneurs who are doing very well, who are great leaders, who can challenge their team, can help people to become the best version of themselves, are entrepreneurs who have, they have not gone to school, they were not the best in school, but because they have a high emotional intelligence, they are able to achieve extraordinary results. So let's continue. Now, I like, anytime I'm training people, I like to use case studies, because we say when you use case study, it helps people to understand, grasp the concept you are talking about. Last year, I was in Central Africa to train some top management leaders in a certain bank. And I'm using the two case studies of two different companies. The first company, the training was on emotional intelligence. And there was a gentleman, I asked in the first company, we call it first company, company A. I asked one of the top executives a question about their CEO. What he said was, we wish to have a managing director and not a damaging director. A director who is more human, who cares about his people and not only about the figures and the target. Let's note this sentence, because we will see what emotional intelligence is about. A director who is more human, who cares about his people and not only about figures. And another executive who was a lady, he said, our CEO can't be bothered. He doesn't know how to talk to people. He's not aware of the impact of his emotions and feelings on his staff. He doesn't realize how his mood put pressure and stress on us. And above all, he always wants to be right. These are two staff who are talking about, top executives who are talking about their MDs. How he handles his emotions, and how the fact that this MD is not able to handle his emotion very well, having a negative impact on the people performance in his company. But the top executive was saying he can't be bothered. He wants result, but he doesn't know that his inability to manage his emotion is having effect on his team. And I'm taking another company, a company B, where I met a wonderful lady, and she made a very great comment. And her comment was saying, my CEO knows how to handle his emotion. He knows how to handle people and understand people's emotion. He's tactful and knows how, let's know the word, how, when, and where to talk to people. He's human and discerning. I will give anything to go the extra mile for him and for the organization. I know I am good at my job, but the success of my department largely depends on the positive environment created by my CEO and by my company culture. Then you see that these two, this staff in the two companies are describing the attitude of two CEOs. One is very unaware of his emotions and of the impact of his negative emotion on his team, and the other is able to effectively manage his emotions and the emotion of his team, which translated into a positive impact on the organization. We can see clearly what we mean by being emotional intelligent. The first CEO is damaging his organization by being emotionally unintelligent. If I may say like that, the second one, he is really emotionally intelligent and his organization, his team members are happy and they are thriving. Let's continue. Let's talk now about, we have an idea now what emotional intelligence is about. Being aware of our emotions and know how to handle the emotion of people we are working with. And it's not only in the organization, at home, at church, wherever we find ourselves, being emotional intelligence is so critical. Now let's talk about the origin of emotional intelligence. Where is it coming from? Emotional intelligence, the term came from Peter Salovey, two people who were psychologists, Peter Salovey and John Mayer, were the first people who talked about emotional intelligence. But most people know about Daniel Goleman, who is one of the founders, if I may say. He's really made emotional intelligence so public because he saw the link between the connection between emotional intelligence and decision, and between behavior and performance. And that really inspired him to write his book, where everybody, those who have studied emotional intelligence, the title of the book is Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than Intellectual Quotient. So let's continue. Now let's define what is emotional intelligence. We hear about it. People talk about emotional intelligence, or we use two case studies. Emotional intelligence is how intelligently you and I will use our emotion to get positive results. It is how my emotions work for me and not against me. Two things: using intelligently my emotion to get positive results. How my emotions will work in my favor, not against me. It means people who are not emotionally intelligent, their emotion can work against them. Another definition of emotional intelligence is our ability to perceive, one, understand, two, express, three, reason, and manage our emotion first and the emotion of others. And when we say apply at work, emotional intelligence is about how intelligently you use your emotion, as I just mentioned. So when we talk about somebody is emotionally intelligent, is how you manage your emotions first, because we say leadership will start with you, and how after you have managed your emotion, how you can help manage the emotion of people you are leading, if you are a leader at home, at work, or wherever you find yourself. I read this in a Proverbs for those who are Christian, and it really struck me. And I realized that the Bible talks about emotional intelligence. Very interesting. It says, controlling your temper is better than being a hero who captures a city. That means for God, if you are able to master your emotions, you are better than being an hero. So somebody who is able to control, master his temper, who is emotionally intelligent, will be celebrated more than somebody who is hero, who can capture a city, but is not emotionally intelligent. We, as Samuel Aise said, I am a certified coach with Genos. I use Genos model because it's practical and it's fit to the context of work and where people live. Genos defines emotional intelligence as making intelligent responses to negative emotions and using the competence of the Genos model to generate what? First, positive emotions in ourselves and in others through being first present. So people who are emotionally intelligent are present. When we say, we will look very soon, what do we mean by being present? Be empathetic. Two, being genuine. Three, being resilient. Four, being first being present. Two, being empathetic. Three, being genuine. Four, being resilient. And five, being somebody who can empower that habit in other people as often as possible. So we have factor we are going to talk about: being present as a leader, being empathetic. I mean, he shows empathy, being genuine, being real. After COVID-19, we hear this expression of coming, being resilient, be resilient. Emotionally intelligent people are people who are really resilient. People who can empower their team to carry on. This is a definition given by Janus. As I mentioned, Daniel Goleman defines emotional intelligent person as a person's ability to manage his feelings so that those feelings are expressed appropriately and effectively. So if you are able to express your feelings appropriately and effectively, according to Daniel Goleman, you are an emotional intelligent person. I like this quote of Maya Angelou. She said, I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Emotional intelligence, as we were saying, is about how people feel. People will forget what you have said. People will forget what you have done, but people will not forget how you made them feel. So that is very crucial. When we want to talk about emotional intelligence, how people feel, the people in our team, how they feel is so critical. Now we want to talk about why emotional intelligence can matter more than intellectual quotient, or we call it emotional quotient and intellectual quotient. In his research at nearly 200 large global company, as I was saying, Daniel Goleman found that truly effective leaders are distinguished by a high degree of emotional intelligence. So what I was saying when I started is somebody can be a first-class student, very brilliant at work, in school, Harvard, wherever, Oxford, but the person can be a bad leader because you don't lead people with your head, but you lead people with your heart. Emotional intelligence is how I express my feeling, I understand my feeling, I understand my emotions. I am aware of these emotions, and I know the triggers of these emotions. And I can do same with people I'm leading so that we can achieve results. And this one is more than intellectual knowledge. It's about knowing yourself. It's about understand what your heart is saying. So you see that the sign of emotional intelligence is the heart which is leading the brain. Now let's talk about the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership. Our emotions influence decisions we made, influence our behavior, and influence our performance, productively and unproductively. Research shows that there is a direct link between the way people feel at work, the way people feel at home, the way people feel wherever they are. Direct link between the way people feel and how people perform at work. So in high-performing organization, people feel significantly more engaged, who feel significantly more engaged, careful, valued, feel proud, who are motivated, who are appreciated. These people are able to be excellent in what they do. Reason why we saw the first case study where the top management were complaining about their MD. They don't feel appreciated. The MD is more concerned about the figures than the people who are producing the figures. Let me say it again. Most of the top executives are more concerned about the figures than the people who are producing the figures. But if you change it, you are more concerned about the people who are producing the figures before the figures, you will get different results. It's where we need people to be trained about emotional intelligence. Let me say it again. To be concerned about the figures is good, but to be concerned about the people who are producing the figures is better. Then you will get amazing result. Because when people are cared for, people are happy, people feel good, people feel engaged, people are motivated, they will give you the figures. But when they feel neglected, people are stressed. They will give you something, but they are not giving you their best. And as we were saying, conversely, in low-performing workplace, people who feel significantly more fearful, stressed, disempowered, and uncertain are not the people who are able to give their best at all. So I want to throw this to our leaders in organization. We need to care for people we are leading by learning how to be emotionally intelligent, and they will give us their best. As I was saying, there is a link between decision, behavior, and performance. When people feel good, they make great decisions. The great decision will lead to good behaviors. Good behavior will lead to best performance, and your organization will be thriving. But when people are not happy, people are criticized, people are not considered, they feel threatened. Every day we will sack you. I mean, they are not encouraged by their boss. Their performance will not be the best at all. And also, when people feel good at their work, in their leadership, people are appreciated. In the neuroscience, we see that our brain, when people feel appreciated, people have pleasant feeling. What happens was that part of the brain become broadened, and people take bright decisions. People are motivated. But when people have unpleasant feelings, people are not happy. People are not are moody. We have the part of the brain which is narrow. So the decision that people will tend to make will be wrong decision. So we see that our brain responds positively to pleasant feelings and will lead to extraordinary results. And our brain also can become narrow when people are fearful. Anyone who is taking decisions based on fear will not take a right decision, because the part of your brain which is taking that decision is narrow, limited. So your decision is likely to be bad decision. So as leaders, we need to encourage people to help them to develop good feelings, feel appreciated, so the decision will have a great impact on their performance. Let's continue. Daniel Goleman has a very wonderful quote I like saying it in my training. CEOs are hired for their intellect and business expertise and fired for a lack of emotional intelligence. That is very powerful. And we are talking about somebody who has done research in top organizations around the world. So if you are a CEO, you can be fired because we hire you because you have a good intellect, you have a high IQ, you have Oxford, Harvard, whatever, Legon, I don't know, quote it, and you have a business expertise. But you can be fired because you lack emotional intelligence. Very important. So, and also the research has said that emotional intelligence accounts for 80% of career success. So people who do well, who excel, who can claim I think the Harvard Review was saying 90% of people claiming the ladder at a certain point is based on how people are emotionally intelligent. And we have some organization in Europe. We work with some people in Europe. Now, if they want to recruit people, emotional intelligence is part of the recruitment process. Because we realize that people have gone to school, but they are not able to manage. They are first-class students, very brilliant, but they can't manage people. So now we work with organizations, we tell them that before to recruit your people, they are brilliant students, first-class students, but include in your recruitment process how emotionally intelligent they are. And our job is to assess them. And top executives who are already there, we propose to coach them to learn to assess them on their emotional intelligence and to know where is their strength and where is their, we don't say weakness, we say where there is their areas of improvement. This is a quote in one of my articles I wrote in Business Financial Times. You see, after training more than 800 directors and senior leaders in different industries in more than 18 companies represented in 20 countries in Africa and Europe, I have come to the conclusion that the best directors, the managers, and team leaders are not necessarily those who are highly intelligent or first-class students, but those who are emotional intelligent, who have high emotional intelligence. For leaders, having emotional intelligence is essential for success. After all, what the question we ask ourselves, who is likely to succeed? A leader who is shouting at his team when he's under stress, or a leader who stays in control, calmly assesses the situation? I mean, the answer, you know it. A leader who, we know that, especially me, I have been in the banking area for 14 years before leaving the bank. There can be pressure, but leaders who are able to assess the situation when they are under stress. What would you mean that leaders who are able to manage their emotions, manage the emotion of their team, their team members, are leaders who have great impact on their people. Instead of being the one who is shouting on people, you will be shouting on them, they are afraid of you, but they will not respect you, and they will not give you their best, or they will be giving you just something because they are afraid to be fired, but not their best. Now let's talk about the 6 competencies of emotional intelligence. We have, according to journals, we have 6 competencies that characterize emotional intelligence. The first one, self-awareness. How aware are you as a leader? The second one, the awareness of others. The third one is authenticity. How authentic are you? The fourth one is emotional reasoning. How do you use, as you want to take a critical decision for your organization, how do you use emotions? Do you take your decision because you have to take it, or you take into consideration the emotions of the people? Let's say, for example, in an organization where they want to take a decision which will affect women. Do we ask ourselves, these women who are in the organization, they have children, they have husbands. Have we thought about this before taking that decision, or we take the decision without taking into consideration the emotion of the people we are leading? Very important. The fifth one is self-management, and the third one is inspiring performance. How do we use emotional intelligence to inspire performance in our organization? So according to journals, the 6 model we summarize it very well. When somebody is able to demonstrate, we talk about to demonstrate emotional intelligence. And when you say you are emotional intelligent, don't brag you are emotional intelligent. And the people who are working with you can say that you are emotional intelligent, because you show off how is the people who see you when you are stressed, when you are sad, when you are happy. How do you demonstrate that behavior is what will tell people that you are emotionally intelligent. So somebody who is able to assess himself, who have a self-assess, who is aware of his emotion, if you're able to demonstrate self-awareness, we say that you are a leader who is present. If you are able to demonstrate the self-awareness, we say that you are a leader who is disconnected of your people, a leader who has the awareness of others. We said he's a leader who is empathetic, who shows empathy. And this is one of the keys in emotional intelligence. A leader who is not able to, we say that leader is indifferent. No, sorry, I think. Okay, a leader who is with another competence of emotional intelligence, authentic. A leader who is able to show authenticity. We say that that leader is resilient. A leader who is not able to, we say that leader is untrustworthy. Very strong word. A leader who is able to demonstrate emotional reasoning, with using when he wants to take a decision, take into consideration people's emotion. We say that leader is a leader who is expansive. A leader who is not able to take into consideration people's emotion when he's taking a decision, we say that he's a leader who is limited. Now we have a self-awareness. If you are able to demonstrate self-awareness in emotional, when you are taking a decision, we say that you are somebody who is resilient. When you are not able to, we say you are temperamental. I mean, you are not constant. And the last one, inspiring performance. If you are a leader who is able to inspire performance, we say that you are an empowering leader. If you are not able to, we say that you are a leader who is indifferent. So these are the 6 competencies of emotional intelligence. Now, let's see what are the behaviors characterize these people. The first one, the leaders who demonstrate these competencies. The first one, the one who shows self-awareness, we see that the person demonstrates awareness of his mood and emotions. The second one, somebody who is aware of others, that leader is able to appreciate. And we teach how as a leader, a top manager, do you appreciate people who work with you? Do you say them? I remember I was doing the training for some executive. The financial director found it difficult to say thank you. They say, I pay them for their job. I said, no. Their job, they are paid for their job. But we call some the power of saying thank you. I really appreciate the work you have done. Or you are a great team player. Because we talk about your reservoir, we talk about your emotional reservoir. When people feel appreciated, they are able to give their best. There is like a car who is full, which is the reservoir is full with fuel. So when you say thank you, excellent, you are bright, you are intelligent, you are a great guy, you are a star. Not flatter people, but recognize the work they are doing. The people, their self-esteem goes up, their emotional reservoir is full, and these people will give you the best they can do for you. So the third one is that leader who is open and honest about his mistake. When he's wrong, he will admit that he's wrong. He will not justify his mistake. The fourth one is the leader who makes ethical decisions. Very critical, especially in this environment we are. The fifth one is the leader who manages his emotion effectively in difficult situations. And the sixth one is a leader who recognizes the hard work and achievement of the people they work with. Now, I want to ask you to do this assessment. You can do it later. I have mentioned 6 behaviors. Kindly do this self-assessment. You can take a short screen of this and do it later. Kindly do this self-assessment and ask the people you work with. It can be your husband, it can be your wife, it can be your team members or people at church. On the scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not at all and 5 being very. How do you demonstrate awareness of your mood and emotion very often? Do you know yourself? Do you know what triggers the anger? Do you know how what makes you feel sad? Do you understand who you are? On the scale of 1 to 5, you can assess yourself. Very important. The second one, how do you make people feel appreciated? The people who work with you, how very often do you tell your husband, oh, dearly, I really appreciate how this thing you have done, or your wife, I really appreciate the food you cook, or your children, I appreciate the work you have done, or your boss, I really appreciate what you have done. Appreciating people, making feel people appreciated is one of the key components of being emotional intelligent. So on the scale of 1 to 5, where do you put yourself? The third one is, how often are you open and honest about your mistake? Do you justify your mistake, or do you admit when you are wrong? So on a scale of 1 to 5, you can evaluate yourself, assess yourself. The fourth one is, how often do you make ethical decisions? Do you cut corners? Do you cheat? Are you transparent? Are you honest as a leader? Very important. So on the scale of 1 to 5, you can assess yourself. The fifth one is, how do you manage your emotional effect in difficult situations? When you are angry, when you are under pressure, do you best? And what this is very important. How often do you forgive people? On the scale of 1 to 5, are you someone who is always bitter? Do you harbor bitterness, or you are able to let go easily? This is part of emotional intelligence. They say the people who are emotional intelligent are able to forgive easily because they know who they are. And the last one is recognizing the hard work of people and the achievement of people at work, as a team members. When people do well, do you say that I am the boss? You take the glory, or you appreciate the people, you lift them, as we say. It's part of being emotional intelligent. So recognizing the other hard work and achievement on the scale of 1 to 5, where do you put yourself? So the total will show you if you are emotional intelligent or not. And you ask yourself, where do you need to amend? Where do you need to improve? Now, let's talk about the destructive power of negative emotion and wrong attitude. This picture, we always use it for our training. You see, this man is the same person. We say, stopping yourself. This man, he is the same person who is holding his leg to move on. It's what negative emotion can do to us. You can be an MD, CEO, but negative emotion can paralyze you. Let me use the expression, can cripple you to move ahead in life. So it's so critical as a leader to learn to manage our emotions very well so that we can move on. Because this man, he cannot go anywhere because he's stopping himself. He's the same person stopping himself. So especially after COVID-19, we realize that people live in fear, people live in uncertainty. So it is critical to learn about emotional intelligence, to learn how to handle our emotions. The impact of negative emotion on our life, health, family, profession. Let's talk about anger, unforgiveness, bitterness, fear, unhealthy competition, and stress. If you see this man, for example, he's locked. He's closed in the bottle and he can't come out. But it's what negative emotion can do to us. Negative emotion can imprison us. Anger, your ability to manage your anger very well. Somebody say, just do it. Don't just say it as you feel it. We'll teach people to, when you are angry, zip it, as we say. Take your time. Breathe. Move away. Allow the anger to calm down, because we said that our emotions have impact on our brain. When you are angry, the part of your brain which is supposed to help you to take right decision will not help you. So it's very critical. It's very critical. It's very critical when you are angry. When you are angry to slow down before taking wrong decision. Very important. anger, unforgiveness. I have said it. Mahatma Gandhi said, the weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness belongs to the strong. Your ability to forgive, to let go, will help you as a leader to be emotionally intelligent. Bitterness. I wrote an article, those who are interested, about the power of bitterness and fear. Bitterness can deform you. I met leaders, top executives, who have been betrayed, they have not been promoted, and they have harbored bitterness. Could you imagine that they can't function? When they see the boss, it's like they say, it just stir them up. And this can cripple people. And anytime we are doing coaching, I ask them, who is suffering? They say, I am the one. So why will you allow somebody's attitude to destroy your future as a leader? Just let go. Just let go. Simple. I have been betrayed. I have not been treated well. But who is suffering as a leader? Me. So I decide to let go. Fear, unhealthy competition, and stress. So let's continue. One of the quotes I use in one of the this one, you see somebody who has hurt himself. We see your ability to deal with bitterness will make you an emotional, intelligent leader and save you from great danger. So free yourself for this mental slavery of bitterness. It is a slavery because you become a slave of the person who has hurt you. So I say, let go. So that you can be that person who is successful, who is doing well. Emotional intelligence, emotional healing. Why and who do I need to forgive? Anytime I do this training, as forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That's why it's such a powerful weapon. The weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness belongs to the strong. So we finish by saying what? John Maxwell has a quote. He said, most people would rather change their circumstances to improve their life, when instead they need to change themselves to improve their circumstances. So a call for change in attitude is, how do I change myself instead of changing my circumstances? By being emotional intelligent. You see, in order to become emotional intelligent, the last question I want to ask is, in order to become emotional intelligent, what is one thing that you could do right now that will make the biggest difference in your life, in your family, in your marriage, in your profession, that being emotional intelligent? So we have finished our presentation on emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, you have any contribution, you are welcome. Thank you so much. Mr. I am done. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Navigating through life with without a coach or a guide can be very deceiving, making you come to think that you have achieved the highest or the best you can ever, or you have made the best of decisions. But until you become very intentional and take a good stock of your life, you would not realize that it's a mistake.
Pain helps you to come out of your comfort zone.
The law of intentionality and the fact that learning is a lifelong journey if you want to be significant. Emphasis on significance.
Previously, I used to be very unintentional about the things I do when it comes to my family, my work, my Christian life, and basically everything that I do.
In the pursuit of that growth, there are gaps. There are gaps that we need to conquer. These gaps include the knowledge, perfection, mistake, inspirational, timing, and assumption gap.
And I will encourage you to be part of CTL Africa's 15-week growth journey.
I encourage you all out there who need to live their life to be part of CTL Africa's growth journey.
Please take advantage of this program and your life will never be the same.
Thank you very much, CTL Africa, and continue to impact the world. God bless.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick. That was awesome. So many takeaways, so many nuggets, and I am standing in for Mr. Yim because he's got some internet issues in Cotonou. So let's see some of the comments that are coming in as Patrick takes some time to lubricate his throat with some water. I guess there are so many questions and so many comments. And our top chat person today is Natalia Pedri. Thank you, Natalia, for your active participation. And she says, emotional intelligence is how my emotions will work to my favor and not otherwise. That is true. And then she goes on to comment on Patrick's 5 ways of being emotionally intelligent: genuine, empathetic, being present, being resilient, and being able to empower those people around us. Okay, so I'm just going to drop down to see whether there are questions, Patrick, for you. Let me see. So many comments commending you for what you have shared with us, and Natalia has given so many comments. Let's see. This is the first question that I see from Ebenezer Tufo. Ebenezer says, great insight from emotional intelligence. Thank you. The question that Ebenezer is asking, considering the fact that we have such huge importance of emotional intelligence, accounting for 80% of career success, how come academia appears to have focused their training mostly on IQ instead of emotional intelligence? Don't they know this? Patrick, that's the first question for you. Yes. So actually, that was also my first question that I had, that if this is so important, why don't we have it in our education and schooling system? So Patrick, will have you answer that in a minute. The second question that I have is from Francis. Oh, okay. Natalie also says Natalie says she knows that scriptures impact greatly on the emotions of others. So how about leaders who do not know God? Who do you deal with? How do you deal with them? Patrick, that is the second question. Those who are not religious, how do you deal with them for them to manage well their emotions? Thank you, Natalie, for that question. And I think I saw another question from Francis Kwesi Adenyo. Says, fantastic presentation. Please, can you help me with this question? If you are leading with your heart, wouldn't it be difficult for you to fire any worker who misbehaves? If you're leading with the heart, wouldn't it be difficult for you to fire any worker who misbehaves? So Abigail, can you bring Patrick on for him to take these first 3 questions? Thank you very much for these excellent questions. Over to you, Patrick.
Okay, thank you so much. The first question asking about why academia doesn't focus on emotional intelligence. Well, we see some country now, emotional intelligence is being included in the academia. People, for example, Daniel Goleman, these are the people who have brought emotional intelligence to become aware of how emotional intelligence is important. And what our company, what we will do now is we are engaging government, we're engaging ministry, people in the academia to see how people can be taught emotional intelligence at the very basic level. Emotional intelligence is supposed with something everybody will know. People will have a cases of divorce, many divorces now because people cannot handle their emotion. That's simple. Someone who understands his emotion when he is, the primary school will grow to understand the emotion himself, the emotion of his partner. So understanding myself, understanding other person will help me to live with the people. So in the academia, there is a lot of changes now, and we need to push this in Ghana, in Africa, to teach people that it's good to have an IQ. But apart from the IQ, it's good to add the emotional, to train people to know what emotional intelligence is about, so that people will be balanced. You know how to lead in their family, in their society, and in their organization. The second question, I think the second question was talking about the scripture. Well, emotional intelligence, when you see what I presented, just one scripture talking about how to manage your emotions, is a principle. We said emotional intelligence is one of the skills we need to develop in this 21st century, and more. It means you don't need to be a Christian to be emotionally intelligent. And let me tell you, I work with many pastors who are not emotionally intelligent. Bishop and names we give, most of them, they are not emotionally intelligent. So it's not about being Christian or not, is to understand the principle of emotional intelligence, to learn, to unlearn and relearn how I handle my emotions. So scripture helps, but people are not Christian. You meet people, I work with people in Europe who are not Christian. They don't know anything about God, but they are highly emotionally intelligent because they know themselves. They know the people they work with, and they are able to have extraordinary results. So it's not only about Christianity, it's advantageous for people who are Christian, but it's a principle. It is, there are skills. Any skill you can develop, you can acquire knowledge to add it. We, for example, we do coaching, training people in emotional intelligence. Somebody can be so poor in emotional intelligence, but after the training, the coaching, train the organization, they become aware. So this is our intake. And the last question, please. Okay, when we talk about leading people with their heart, I love this question. Thanks to you. When we talk about leading with the heart, it doesn't mean that we'll forget about the head. But if you want to be aware of people being emotional intelligent, it can be your head, because your head would think about, will be logical, but your heart is talking about the feelings. So you need to balance the two. It's when we are not saying that being emotional intelligent, forget about. Actually, being emotional intelligent, you need a reason. We talk about emotional reasoning, but in reasoning, you need to take into consider people emotion. So it's where the heart will intervene. And leaders who, let me give you an example. A leader, for example, who is like, we're talking about a training with an organization. One of the lady was so impressed. I was impressed by her comment. She said, one of the things my boss always does, and I like it, any day, every time he comes, he will go to every department to greet us, to check our emotional temperature before we start the work. You see, that boss is just using his heart to check on people how they are. This is the power of emotional intelligence, because he's using his heart to check on them, to show care before the work will start, so he can check everybody how you are doing before the work is start. So if somebody who is emotionally down, he knows how to handle that person that day. I don't know if my answer was, you are satisfied, my brother.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Very well answered questions. But before I go on, Patrick, just tell me, since this is very important, and if it's not in our educational system, where do we start? Do we start with the family, the mother and the father learning or teaching the children to be emotionally intelligent? How do we go about that? What will be your answer to that whilst I look through the questions?
Yeah, thank you. My answer is, we parents, we need to learn about emotional intelligence. When I became aware of what is emotional intelligence, it changed my relationship with my wife. When I'm discussing with my wife, I'm aware of my emotion. I'm aware of her emotions. At the beginning, is my point. Now I have learned that she has emotion. I need to understand her. It's changed my relationship with my daughter because emotional intelligence, we have authenticity. In authenticity, we have honoring your commitment. So anytime I'm traveling, she asks me, Daddy, what are you going to buy for me? If I know that I won't have time, I will not make a promise. I have learned to keep my word with my daughter because this is emotional intelligence. Be a man of integrity, keeping your word, keeping your commitment. So it must start from home. And what we suggest is when you train your children to be emotional intelligent, to understand their emotion, they understand the emotion of other people, they grow with. Then the society is changed. And also, apart from that, let's see, we have training, we do training teachers, training directors, coaching people. And also in emotional intelligence, one of the key aspects is the power of letting negative emotion go, the power of forgiveness. You see, all these things are part of emotional intelligence. A country where people are easily able to forgive is a country which will prosper. A country where people hold grudges, are bitter, they can't prosper because the negative emotion will imprison them. So this is something very critical. We need to train people, to coach people on, so that people will live a very fulfilled life. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And I can see Emmanuel Willendale. He says he's joining from WA. Great to have you with us. Powerful presentation. But I have a question. Most often we hear of things like don't be emotional. Arguments are emotional, etc., etc. So my question is as a leader, how do I remain emotionally intelligent and at the same time remain real, true, and not manipulative?
Okay, thank you.
So that is the question. Let me add another question so that we are able to get through a few more questions. Let's see whether there are more. So Willie Glay says, please give us one practical example of emotional intelligence. So take those two, and then we'll come back and look at the rest.
Okay, I will start with Glay. Willie will say one practical example be emotional intelligence is to appreciate your wife. Yes, just practical. When she does well, oh, you have done well. I really appreciate you. You are a good wife.
What if I don't have a wife or I don't have a husband? So
okay, you live with people. The power of appreciating people is incredible. When you appreciate somebody genuinely, as I was saying, the people emotional reservoir goes up. And it's the research say in neuroscience that people can keep the good feedback for 1 month because they have been appreciated. So it's just one simple thing, but which is so powerful. CEOs, top executives who have understood the power of appreciating use it very well. An MD will leave his office, enter the office of his colleague. I really want to say thank you for this work. You are a valuable team member. The person will never forget that. It doesn't cost you, but it increases people's emotional reservoir. So this is the one example. Another example is ability to admit you are wrong. It's a power of emotional intelligence. Admit when you are wrong, to say that I am wrong, I'm sorry, not to justify. Is a tool and behavior of emotional intelligence. And the last one is how do you understand people? We call something to have a listening ear as a leader. To hear beyond what the person is saying. Being empathetic is to hear the heart of the person. The person is shouting, but what the person is saying is that I need help, I am in distress. It's an act. You need to learn it as a leader so that you can know how to, when the person is talking, you don't just hear the person, but you are listening to the person's heart as a leader. So these are the examples you can put into practice to be able to be emotionally intelligent. I think there was another question, how to balance your
They said most people here don't be emotional. Arguments are emotional, etc. So the question is, as a leader, how do I remain emotionally intelligent and at the same time remain real, true, and not manipulative?
Okay.
That
When we
is
went
from
through the characteristics of emotional intelligence are people who are really authentic. I mean, they are true, they are genuine, they are not manipulated, they are not forced. And emotional intelligence will tell you that I felt so humiliated at that meeting the way you talked to me. That is being genuine. I will not hide it. I will express it at the right way. This is being genuine. You see, and also when people say don't be emotional, it's not in context of emotional intelligence. As a company where the culture of emotional intelligence is really promoted, these are the people who really do well. We teach people how to have frank discussion with their boss, with their team members. Tell me exactly how you feel. People will share their heart. Then the leader will have the feedback and he will change. This one is not being manipulative. You are factual, based on facts. You see, so the people who are emotional intelligent, as I would say, they are people with integrity. They are people who are real. They know themselves. They understand their emotion. They understand the emotion of the people, and they know how to get positive results. Thank you.
Excellent. To add to that, I will say that I think one of my mentors did say that when you are really giving feedback to people, if it is negative, do that in private.
Yeah.
And when you are praising them, do that in public.
Yes.
Do that in public. So that is another practical way of really showing emotionally intelligent characteristics. Okay, let's see whether there are more questions. We have 12 minutes more to go to the top of the hour. Let's see. I can see comments again from Natalia. It says, genuine Christians truly have advantage. Thank you for that, Natalia. And then Albert Donko says, great to connect tonight. Thank you for connecting with us, Albert. Then, okay, we have tackled that from Willie Clay, the example. And Natalia says, it begins right with the family. Yes, confirming what you just shared. And Rebecca Owusua Ampao says, great presentation, very important subject. God bless CTL. So Emmanuel says, thanks for the answers. Very appreciative to Patrick for answering.
You're welcome.
Excellent. So great. It doesn't look as if we have any more questions. So Patrick, what I'll ask you to do is to give us your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah. CTL, Mr. Ayim, the wonderful Sarah, and the whole wonderful team for this brilliant work you are doing, not only in Ghana, but in whole Africa. Thank you for the opportunity. And for me, emotional intelligence, I am passionate about it. So this is for, and now we're trying to help couple, before people get to marry, we help them to know how emotionally intelligent they are. Very important. We don't enter the marriage now, you discover that you are not. Do it before you enter. But as you are in, learn how to handle your emotion, how your partner understand the emotion of your partner. And also it will give you a great marriage. Understand the emotion of your children and also your team members. So what we are doing is we offer training for organizations. We always start with top management, the CEOs and of their top management, to have 3 days. This one is just the tip. We talk about a real issue, stopping organization to move forward. So we have 3 days emotional intelligence training for you. We have a 360-degree assessment for every top management person or person who is interested, with also private coaching. And we'll use them to do coaching for people to help them to become excellent in how to handle their emotion. So you have my contact. Those who are interested, you are welcome. But as John Maxwell has said, people would prefer to change their circumstances instead of changing themselves. So change yourself being emotional intelligent so your circumstances will change automatically. So thank you so much. I am grateful. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And I can see Abah-Dakou asking for how he can connect with you. If Albert, see with CTL, they can connect you to Patrick. And also, if you look on the announcement that we did share, the connection is there. If you follow the link, you will be able to connect with Patrick that way. So on this note, I would like to say a big thank you to Patrick for taking the time, showing us how important emotional intelligence is for us leaders, for our lives, for our families, for our marriages, and for our professions. That is a 360 degree of our lives. So go and be emotionally intelligent with all the nuggets that Patrick has shared with us. And remember, the 15 laws of growth is still on. And if you are interested, please contact CTL to be part of the growth journey. And you will also, as Patrick said, you become self-aware and emotionally intelligent as you grow in that area to become a successful leader. So until next week, same time, same space, we look forward to welcoming you for another great discussion and topic on the leadership platform. Thank you all, and thanks to my teammates, Kofi, Abigail, and Mr. Ayim. God bless you all. And as always, Mr. Ayim will say, don't forget to go to church. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsie and I'm excited that I just completed a 15-week journey with the CTL Africa team on the 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth by John C. Maxwell.
From the law of pain, I also learned that every problem introduces a person to himself. Honestly, till you face a problem, you wouldn't know the things that you actually have within you.
The journey for me personally was a wake-up call. Before I joined this journey, I wasn't actually learning at all. I wasn't adding any knowledge to what I knew.
So the law of trade-off is saying that you have to give up to grow up. So things that I think are not going to have maximum impact on my life, I have to trade them off.
I want to grow. I am not stopping now. I am continuing. And as far as I'm concerned, like it says, you cannot give what you don't have. I definitely will have to give what I have learned off to others and then get more so that I can continue giving. I am not going to be a reservoir. I am going to be a river, and therefore I'm going to continue learning to be able to give of my best.
Ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results on a consistent basis if they have a system, if they have a plan.